What's poppin'? What's going on, guys? Good evening, good afternoon, wherever you are across the globe. My name is Gaetonzo, and I'm glad to be here again for another day, another live of our episode, Free Congo Movement. What is a Free Congo? So today we have an amazing guest, and I really wanted this live to be really conversational. So um, we'll be discussing what like the Free Congo movement, what has been happening around the world, and particularly our guest today, Tabitha Dorcas from the Free Congo Collective in Germany. So Tabitha, how are you?
Feeling good, a bit nervous, but mostly very good.
You don't have to be nervous. You
Yeah,
have
I
been
saw it's
doing an
weird.
amazing job. I'm gonna excuse me.
No, I'm just saying it's true
Yeah,
because
you have
it's
been
just
doing an
a
amazing.
conversation.
Yes, you have been doing an amazing job in Europe, in Germany. I have to say that. And to just give context, I think you and I we met at a meeting with Genocast. Shout out to the Congolese Action Youth Platform, by the way, Genocast. And we met at that meeting. It was just
Yeah.
once, and we met again because you reconnected. You wanted to do an action, and you wanted to involve Friends of the Congo. And I was like, "Your name and your voice is familiar." And then you're like, "Yeah, we met at the meeting, right?"
Yeah, that was over half a year ago. And thanks for the introduction. I feel like super honored. And yeah, our group in Germany is yeah, a loose collective, I would say, of a few people who really want to amplify the voices of the Freedom for Congo movement in Germany.
Mhm.
And I think for us, there's like multiple levels, but especially just being the diaspora, Congolese diaspora here in Germany, we've always felt like we needed to do something. And there have been movements before us and everything. And for us, it really, I think the biggest catalyst was last year. I personally and a few friends who were talking about the elections in DRC, and exactly around that time, I was in Kinshasa, and we were just tired of just seeing like really nothing changing, nothing evolving, and a lot of campaigning, but the city's just chaos, and the East, and children and parents and everybody in the diaspora is just fed up of hearing promises but nothing really happening. So we just started talking on Instagram with a few people on the social media platforms, and that's how it just started. Our first kind of small protest was, yeah, on the 23rd of December, like before Christmas, the day before Christmas, because after the elections, we just wanted to meet up with people, connect people, and share this collective disappointment about the Congolese government. And that's how it started. It's been 1 year of a lot of work. I've grown like, what is this? Panda eyes.
Yes. It's been 1 year. Now that I think about that, you're absolutely right. Like this Friends of the Congo is about to launch our end of the year campaign. And last year, I think it was like a few weeks before December 1st. That's usually when we launch the end of the year campaign to
Hmm.
support organizations, Congolese organization in the front line in the Congo, in the east, in the west, and even in the capital, Kinshasa. So we launched the Free Congo movement, and honestly, and I think I shared that in the last video, we were amazed the response that the whole world had to our call to action, right? Like trying to uplift uh, the Congolese issues, and also our um, advocacy, which Friends of the Congo has been around since 2004. So obviously Germany also follow path, and you guys in your own way, in really independent way, you guys created your Free Congo movement, and you were able to organize and, you know, have events and demonstrations. And then you told me about a particular events that you had a couple weeks ago. Can you tell our audience what that was about?
Right. And if I can just continue on what you said, Friends of the Congo has been a big inspiration for everything that we do, especially just seeing how um, the people over there, the group, knew how to really create a whole platform, provide media resources, informations, and also do events. Just kind of gave us courage. Because, of course, like me personally, I've been living in Germany for almost 20, oh, my math, 25 years. I wasn't born in Germany. And our parents just always told us that we have to go back home. Our home is important. And we really grew up with the culture and everything, but also with the heartbreak of everybody always talking about politics and nothing moving. And we saw a few groups doing this and that. But then, oh, he's gone. But then Friends of the Congo did those amazing things like Congo Week. You went on lives, you shared a lot of resources for everybody. So it just inspired us. Okay, I'm gonna wait. Are you? Oh,
Yeah,
we
yeah,
lost you.
yeah.
Okay.
I just wanted the attention to be on you because you were sharing. Okay.
Oh, I was a bit scared. Sorry.
Yeah. Continue, please.
All right. I hope I'm not going too far into details. People can actually comment. You guys take the nervousness away from me and just ask away. Yeah. I think for me, particularly, the inspiration was the Congo Weeks. And that's where I started like contacting you guys via email, your website, and everything, because you really were having an impact in your own setting. It wasn't like, oh, we're going to do something in Congo and stuff, but you were providing information and a space for people where you are, like locally, um, to keep their eyes on the Congo, even at times where it wasn't like hyped, I would say, because around election time and everything, it was a bit of a hype. You've been consistent, so that's what we wanted to pick up on and continue doing. And from all the events we did this far, on the 16th of November this month, um, I personally think we did our biggest event. This was something that was growing from the activism from starting December last year until this year, because something that many Germans don't know is that this year marks 140 years of the Berlin Conference. And I'm not really good with words, so just to cut it short, and you guys can research, but the Berlin Conference, or sometimes it's also called Berlin Congo Conference, was a conference where a few European leaders met up in Berlin, Germany, to decide on the fate of the African continent. This is basically where, for me, well, not really everything started. We had a culture, we had everything before that, but 1884 is a marking year where some people who didn't know Africa, who haven't been to a few countries whatsoever, decided to split it up, like divide the whole continent like a cake, and everybody gets a share and do whatever they want. This is why King Leopold got a whole country as his little project. And there has been a lot of colonial continuities that most people don't react to. Like nowadays, we talk about technology being a problem for the very mineral rich DRC, but the whole economical connections, how it led up to this, why there are colonial continuities, most people don't know about it. So for us as a collective, we want to do not only activism but raise awareness, do like decolonization projects, and also have an impact for people back home, because we want to work with other groups there. That to date was very important for us to do an event and go like, okay, Germany, you have responsibility, you have history with Congo. In my own city, there's so many places you can do decolonization, decolonial tours. And find out about the connections between the economical miracles here in the West and why everything is actually coming from the continent.
Yes, yes, and really amazing events, amazing initiative, and I can only thank you uh, as a daughter of the Congo first, and also as an activist, right? Like to continue to uplift to where you are. You are literally in Germany, and people who watch politics and activism, Germany, especially with the Israel war in Gaza right now, that has been for like over a year, that has been really cracking down on like activists, and the fact that you pursue and continue to speak up and talk about what happened, I really commend you on that. And for context, for the folks who are just joining us, we are with Tabitha Dorcas from the Free Congo Collective in Germany. You can also watch her in her personal travel slash activist blog, if you wish. But yes, and also in terms of what really happened, it's really important to point out that is really exploitation of the Congo, which started, like you mentioned, 140 years ago exactly, right? Um, and 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 it was really the fact that 14 nations, um, and there was like the U.S., Russia, Austria, and Hungary, Denmark, Netherlands, Sweden, Norway, because these countries were like one, um, and they literally decided to sit down and discuss what will be the future of the Congo basin, right? And obviously, after that, later it became a broader conversation about other nations as well. And yeah, and so you guys met, uh, got together, you met, and so what did you guys? So if you can run us through the events, what did you guys discuss? I mean, like I said, it's really conversational. I don't feel like I'm asking you questions. So I can ask
Actually,
you
I should
questions,
ask you questions.
but yeah. So we're discussing and trying to educate the audience about what Freecon Collective is doing, about the event, about everything. So yeah.
Oh, you've been doing this way longer than me, so I'm actually curious about everything that you do. um, but yeah, just a bit for context. We decided to have a sort of safer-ish space. I know it's a very sometimes controversial or overused word, but the approach was, so this is German history that they really don't teach in schools. Like I've done everything here in Germany, primary school and everything, and there's still this power imbalance and this condescending way of Europeans or Germans speaking about African countries, especially Congo, the very rich, mineral rich but poor country. So we wanted to take them with us into this conversation and to say, okay, everybody's welcome. We want you to sit down with us. We had a group of people. They are called Decolonize Dortmund. This is actually the city where I live.
Shout
Shout
out.
out to everybody who knows Dortmund and the team.
Yeah.
I actually love my football team. And yeah,
Yeah.
so the group Decolonize Dortmund really did an amazing task of doing some real research on, like, not really landmarks, but areas, places, buildings, historical references to how this city really grew economically because of colonial trade, because of exploitation, we should call it. Yeah, so this is something that I wanted people to really like have a tangible connection to it, because it's always so far for everyone. Like, oh, 140 years, it's gone, you should forget about it, nobody talks about it. No, I live on a street that is named after some high profile colonialists. We visit places, or we have certain areas that are now event areas that used to be those human zoos, for example. Some people just think, oh, it was in Paris or in Berlin, but no, stuff like that happened in the smaller cities. And exactly the place where we had our event used to be a very important port, kind of still is, a small inland port that they specifically built just to bring in or bring out goods, as in the things they exploited from overseas, illegally took from overseas. And this is how the area where I live right now boomed in the industrial time, if I'm correct. I'm seeing someone from the collective here, from Decolonize Dortmund. She's certainly better in explaining it. But I got goosebumps just standing on this historical site with no people usually ignore it. Nobody really knows, but we could really like talk about it and take everybody with us. So Germany is very diverse, so there were people from a bit of different cultures, and even the feedback afterwards was good. We did that part, and after that, we decided to shake it off a bit because at the end of the day, we know the history, and it's a painful history, but we also wanted to like um, then ask those who are not part of the diaspora to leave kindly so that we could share a bit more within the diaspora community and also just let go of the heaviness of like talking about the pain of our ancestors, which is kind of our pain. Yeah. And this is how the event was. It was an experiment. um, there was a lot of work in the background. There's a lot of people working in the collective. Sometimes it's just my face being pushed out there, but a lot of amazing people donate money. A lot of people just paid for event tickets, even though they couldn't make it. A lot of people just shouted us out. We had amazing artists doing poetry, really going deep. We had a friend who does dancing and he kind of expresses himself also through poetry and dance, and it really felt healing in this context. So I think this is the approaches we're trying to do, just try different things in terms of raising awareness, but also self-care, which is also my angle. This is why I travel a lot, because this is kind of self-care for me, but also stay activist by reminding people about what's happening, no, what's happening now and the connections to what happened in the past.
Yes.
Right. Let me know, how is it with you actually? Because what I really wanted to do was a Congo week in Germany, but logistically was like not easy. So maybe you can talk a bit about how you do those weeks and what we can learn from you guys and how we can bring it over to Europe.
Yeah, obviously it's kind of hard, especially when you are in a different country with a community that's not as active um, politically, or because obviously with everything happening, they are barely trying to survive and thrive in a different country. And asking them to be involved as we are, it's a little bit too much. But thanks to technology, we have the internet. We can connect. We can create education content, because people sometimes they don't have time, right? Especially in the world, in this capitalist world where people live paycheck to paycheck. People don't have time to necessarily go to events and attend, right? But they can do that from the comfort of their home, or when they're at work, just put the video and just be listening to that in the background while doing the work. So France of the Congo has been really using it as a tool to continue to raise global consciousness, right? And particularly me, because you asked about me, same thing. From my college time all the way to right now, uh, technology, the internet, my social media accounts, I have used those powerful tools to raise awareness, to uplift the voice of the Congolese people. So when it comes to, or when it came to um, Congo Week, I tried my best, because Friends of the Congo is a nonprofit and it's volunteer run 100%. So we have life outside, and we also trying to balance helping out the organization, helping out the movement whenever we're free, right? So it's just trying to balance that and making sure that when I have free time, um, I can just record something and educate people about what's going on. And that's what I've been doing on different topics since last year, actually, when I officially joined um, Friends with the Congo. It's just creating contents, educational contents to raise awareness, call to actions to do that. Like really, the internet, cell phones, yes, are being used to oppress people, but as we have seen in the past few months, that they have been used. These are really powerful tools used to wake up minds and spirits of the people, right? Like in terms of like what's going on, their current situations is something that is not natural. It was induced. It was caused by those in powers because they want to keep us busy. They want to keep us in control. So once you realize that and you use your cell phones, you use the internet to raise awareness, to organize events, then they start freaking out, right? That's why you see mass censorship, which to me was really crazy when I saw how they would like cancel people. Because just like you, Tabitha, I'm from the Congo, and in the Congo for many years, especially when we came close to the elections, the governments used their power to shut down the internet. Internets were shut down for weeks, and I was in the U.S. So for me, especially in 2017, when my father was arrested, it was kind of hard to get in touch with the family because I come from a family of activists of the work that people are doing on the ground, and you can't really report it because there is no access to the internet for those on the ground. And then when I saw that in the U.S. happening with the whole Israel Palestine, and I was like, are we, literally going that route? Are we gonna see the government shutting down the internet? I mean, they didn't go that far, but they went as far as canceling people and shutting down their own controlling what get reach and what doesn't. Accounts getting shadow banned, accounts getting shut down. Literally, African Stream, which is one of the biggest African media, was shut down. Literally, right?
Yeah, that's
From
crazy.
Google, from YouTube, from Instagram, like even Google, like literally Gmail, like they don't have access to a Gmail account. That's why I was like, whoa, that's crazy. Uh, so it's just understanding that tools that we have in our possession, like the internet and laptops, cell phones. Yes, we are raising awareness about the sourcing of those gadgets and how folks in the Congo are being uh, used literally to manufacture those, uh, like when they are exploiting like cobalt, copper, coltan, and all these that are used to make cell phones. But it's also really important to understand um, that instrument is a powerful tool also to work for our collective liberation. So it's understanding that and using it. So that's essentially what we've been doing for Congo Week this year. It's always start on Sunday and ends on a Saturday with the concert. And I did my partition online as I always do. So yeah,
Yeah, and that's. Oh, wait. The sound is a bit off. Do you hear
not
me well?
sure. Yeah.
Okay, cool. Um, that's exactly what I hope we can accomplish because many people, or well, amazingly, a lot of people just support us. And then there's, of course, feedback and critical voices, which I respect a lot because this is how we learn, this is how we grow. And sometimes I get nervous when we get this question like, what is a free Congo to you? Like, are you sure what you're doing is making a difference? Are you like, what are your goals and da da da? Like most people want to, I don't know, it's like it turns into those interviews, like job interviews where you have to give like your 5 point action plans and where you see yourself in 5 years. And honestly speaking, being here today is already the biggest change for me because funny enough, I used to be someone who hated social media. I didn't want to show my face on there. I found it super superficial and everything, until I realized that you can actually have an impact, and you can actually grow a following, grow a platform, use your voice, use what you do every day, maybe to like inspire someone, or find people with a common goal, or find your people that are maybe not in your 50-kilometer radius. And this is where I'm really applauding you guys, and I respect the way you just saw the potential. And yeah, you're using the devices that are very problematic in a sense, but at least we're using those devices to try and make a change, because status quo is not the best to stay in when you see that, as you said, people get canceled, people are dying. The way that we see those, like nowadays we have everything at the tip of our hands. We see the people displaced, we see the people in Sudan, we see what's happening in Palestine. And it still is weird to other people that we are fighting, like that we're using our voices. Me putting myself out here was like the biggest risk I could have ever taken, to say that, okay, I'm courageous enough, I'm going to do it, with all the flaws, with all the mistakes that I can do sometimes, with English being my like third, fourth language, and all the typos that sometimes land in a post. It still kind of does something if I know that one person or maybe two people found out about the Congo through me, or saw this post about Sudan, about Palestine, about the Kanaks, about Haiti, about you name it. And they at least just go and research and find or look for ways to help, to donate. This is how I believe we can do a difference or make a difference. Funny enough, when you were talking about the internet cutting off, this year felt like the revolutions were like chasing me because I was in Senegal at the beginning of the year, not really knowing that this whole trying to get Macky Sall out of office, which he was supposed to go, and then he decided not to, and it was all a commotion, and I was in the middle of it. And I got inspired though to see the African continent is a very young continent. There's a lot of young people there ready to say no to old values or old ways of doing things. You've seen it in Kenya, and currently it's uh, I don't know if it's okay. I won't remember. I will have to check. It's not Namibia, but in another country where like the young people are just, they are fed up, and they know what the internet can do, what social media can do, and they connect and they try to at least stand for what they hope can change the country. And this is how revolutions start. And it should be okay to do that, and also have a backing of people who are maybe not in the same country as you, but they will support you, because the battle is real. There's so many attacks happening, like me being here with my raspy voice and stuff. Like the battle, the attacks are real, but we still, or at least I think it's worth it. And I hope that more people just join us.
Yes, and it's important what you said, and thank you for sharing. When going on the topic of Senegal and the president, the former president of Senegal, he was president then when you were there, Macky Sall, and why, whether it is in Senegal or in Congo, on Burkina Faso, in Niger, Mali, or even in the U.S., why it's the youth, always the youth, um, and we have seen that time and time again throughout history, right? Why it's always the youth that are at the forefront of revolution movements, for the simple reason that you know the future is for them, right? Like when you are 60, 70 years old, you are literally in retirement, right? So why are you going to worried about free education, for example, because you are literally in retirement, right? Especially if you have a capitalistic mind. or why would you think about certain things um, that literally includes the future of anyone, right? So it's the youth, Gen Z right now, with in the movement, with the BDS movement, and even in Kenya, like Gen Z was also there were also that those youth were literally at the forefront trying to um, fight back on the Kenyan government. Um, I would say proposal, right? They wanted to uh, tax more the people, and the youth said no, we don't want you to tax us more because we are already working, we are already suffering. Even in France, and the president of Macron also had to really um, bypass the parliament and invoke an article that, which is in the constitution for him to not even have a majority, but still approve a law. And we saw people protesting on the street. There were also young people, the working class, right? So when we're talking about this collective liberation that we are, like all of us are really like um, envisioning, it is that vision is really carried by the youth particularly, right? Especially the youth, and not as young as 10 years ago, 20 years ago, but I'm still in the middle. And I also want to consider myself, I'm not that old as well. But
Age is but
yeah, but I'm a perfect position to understand, right? Because I'm still able to correctly use social media and being on the social media platforms and see the suffering and talk to people and have friends, have younger friends, brothers and sisters, and um and and just random people who talk to me, who I interact with on social media,
it's
and I
beautiful.
can actually see the pain, right, and suffering. So yes, when folks like that, like, they get up and say, you know what, enough is enough. Like, why am I paying taxes so that my tax money can fund a genocide somewhere, right, or can fund a conflict somewhere? These are valid questions. These are valid way to say no to the establishment, no to this system that is uh, existing, thanks to the oppression of other people. And
Yeah,
it's up to the youth to say that no, I don't want to be part of that oppression because my life, my existence doesn't require you oppressing someone else. And that's the whole point of us doing that. So
sure. And that's beautiful because, yeah, it still is weird to me to see how it's just suppressed so much, like, and it in front of our eyes. It's not like back in the day where they could just, shut up the one revolutionary. Or recently I had the opportunity to like give a commentary on Lumumba, who's a national hero, obviously, for Congo, or like in the Pan-Africanist idea, and for Africans in general. And in Germany, Lumumba is known as a drink. Like, they literally named hot chocolate beverage with alcohol, if I'm not mistaken. I don't even drink like that, but it's this level of disrespect. Like, you won't teach your children, you won't teach the next generation about someone who was so important and silenced because he wanted to do, well, I will call it the right thing, or do at least something. And they use his name for a beverage and like so disrespectful that I'm just disgusted by the there's this book, what do you call it, like moral bankruptcy, the way it's just, oh, Africans are corrupt, Africans are lazy, we have to shut down or close the borders so that all those immigrants don't come here. But you don't want to learn why they have to leave their countries. You don't want to deal with the repercussions of your technological developments here, of all the luxury we have here. Sure, I like to have a soft life too, and I use those devices and everything, but still, at least sometimes in a day, I'm just going to take my time and think about all the sacrifices and the historical part of it, and then try to do something about it. Of course, I am kind of someone who is directly connected to this. So this is why I care a lot. But it still baffles me to see how, especially in Germany, when you've spent your life in Germany and gone to German schools, they will again and again go back to 1945. They will go back to remind you of that very dark time, maybe even a little bit of the dark ages, and maybe we talk a bit about the French Revolution. But why don't you talk about Lumumba's revolution? Why don't you want to focus, like spend a year focusing on the Berlin Conference? Why don't you want to talk about these things and how here living peacefully and luxuriously in the West comes at cost of 5-year-olds um, going into mines to bring out those resources. Yeah, and those are the things that really break my heart sometimes. I know I have to take care of myself and not be too emotional about it, but it's really hard. I don't know how you deal with it. Um, I didn't want to brush over it, but you just told me that your dad got like abducted and stuff. Like you come from a revolutionary family, so I want to know, like, how do you deal with the almost burnout? Like, how do you manage the
That,
emotions, the anger, and everything?
this story is actually really dear because my father was in politics, the opposition party for the longest time. I think ever since the Kabila was the Kabilas were in power, like the son and the father as well, and even under this current regime. But um, it was around 2016, 2015 when there was like it was supposed to be the last term of that the former president Kabila, and he there was like rumors. Um, and like my dad once told me, Kinshasa, especially us African, like we are a nation of mostly oral tradition, right? Like we like to teach and communicate through words and uh, uh, bouche à oreille, like we say, mouth to ears. So when there is a rumor in Kinshasa, that rumor is most likely true. That's what he used to tell me, right? So because the news travel really fast in the Congo,
Snap.
and so there was rumors of some members of the opposition that were going to side with the president at the time, who was seeking to change the constitution and remain in power, uh, so that he could have a third term, or not even organize the election at all and just remain in power as long as he could, which happened. He even after his term was over, or his term ended, he did not organize the election, and in 2016, and still waited for 2 more years. So starting 2015, people started protesting. The Catholic Church even got involved, um, and and my father, being Catholic, being from the opposition as well, was also involved. And he um, working, um, at the as the advisor of the president of Senate. He was in charge of good governance, and he will draft reports, um, technical reports, um, review World Bank and IMF documents, and anything that has to do with finances and budget. And he saw firsthand corruptions happening. And obviously, as a technocrat, all he had to do was to write reports, right? What happened after that was really it was really out of his hands. So he decided that he wanted to do more and be more active, and he started speaking up, right, about the Constitution and how the president had to respect the Constitution and organize elections. That's when the death threats happened. And I was personally, I was already in the U.S. That was 2015. So then he started talking to me about how there was rumors that they were going to shut down the internet, and how it's possible that his life was in danger. At first, he was not really using those words directly to me over the phone because he was trying to kind of stop like the conversation, like not really go in details, because you never know who's watching you, especially with the Congolese government buying um, Pegasus from Israel to watch, listen to um, the opposition and just the population, literally spy on everyone. So he was really smart about that. So we had this really conversation when he came in, when he finally came in 2017. It was summer 2017, and we sat down, and he uh, essentially gave me two letters, and it was like, "Hey, this is in case I get arrested. This is in case I get killed." I looked at him like, "What the hell are you talking about?" And it didn't really happen until a few months later when I got the message that he was arrested and the internet was shut down. So it was a message that I received through like a kind of from the Catholic Church, because some embassies and churches that had specific Wi-Fi still, and I received that message the day before my physics exam, um, the night before actually, because it was around like 10, 11 p.m. and the Congo's already like in the morning, and it's hard to balance those type of events, like dramatic events. You don't know what's going to happen to your family members. And I've got videos also of my sister being arrested, and her arrest was brief, um, but still brutal, right? And you still have to see that, and you still have to like post those because the government shut down the internet. So to me, it was really learning how to unplug myself, which to me was kind of hard because there there is no internet in the Congo, right? Like my family or the safety of my family literally depend on me being plugged in and knowing what's going on, receiving information, even though they were coming really like it was really scarcity of information. So when I have them, I have the possibility to upload them because I have a better connection. I have connection period. So I had to upload them. So to me, it's like I really need to unplug myself to do self care, but I can't, right? And that's usually what happens to most people of color or people who are from marginalized communities, because we cannot afford to unplug ourselves. We cannot afford to, unfortunately, to have self care. But with uh, everything happening and us making enough noise and having a plan in place with the Catholic Church and other organization from the civil society, we had a plan in place for folks in case they get arrested, and the United Nations was behind, and the Catholic Church as well. So my father was able to get released, and I personally didn't talk to me until like a week later. But when everything died down, to me it was like, okay, now I can take a breath. Now I can breathe and unplug myself, right? Because things were a little bit calm. So yeah, therapy. I literally started seeing a therapist. I did that for like 3, 4 years. Does that help? And also be more involved, and I started spending more time with my family here in the US that adopted me. And because you now value friends and family more. So it is like I said, it's really hard when you are involved and you know that you are carrying some weight, and if you unplug and if you take self-care, if you take a pause, who's going to continue to fight, right?
Yeah.
That's why I like the term collective liberation, because it shouldn't be on one person, it shouldn't be on one organization, because if we are all collectively organized, we can all collectively liberate ourselves. and that's what the Free Congo movement really is about. And we started, obviously, I mentioned, and even yourself last year, right? But the
Mm.
reason why the Free Congo, and I posted in my last um, content with Brother Tariq that I admire, about how the Palestinian movement were that was able to welcome Congolese, literally, issues, right, and still create a room for us to also speak up, right? That's what collective liberation is about. That's what a movement is about. Because it's not centered around one person. It's centered around an ideology that everybody needs to be free, right? And that anybody, is black, browns, whites, whatever, however you feel like that you are oppressed, however the system has used to oppress you, your people, based on your nationality, based on your ethnicity, based on your gender, based on your race, that there is room for you definitely to organize collectively and liberate yourself. So,
Yeah.
to I answer, I think I went on a rant, but
No, it's perfectly fine.
just self care, but at the same time, like, well, seeing a therapy and being involved, sports, watching sport, video games, reading books, articles. I really started reading. I love reading articles and reports, um,
I
about.
know.
I do. People think I'm weird, but
No.
the past 2 3 years, I've stopped reading books. I think the last book that I've read was by Mark Lemon Hill. Um,
I never heard. What's the title?
uh, I think it's from Ferguson. I forgot the name of the book, but it was about Ferguson and
Hmm.
Mark Obama. Like, um, I forgot. It was like 2 3 years ago that I read that book,
Mm.
and ever since I just started to read articles on reports, actually, articles, news articles, reports, human rights, economy, reports, um, you know, anything
Mm.
that has to do with uh, kind of like the social economic lives or aspect of the people. Um, so that's what I do. I read, um, as a self care. Honestly, I travel, um, for self care. I talk to someone. Therapy, like, no matter what they say about you, folks, therapist is good. Like, don't just don't
Mm.
just like get dragged into, like, thinking that, oh, therapist is not, well, why are you doing that, like, you Congolese, like, no, it doesn't matter, African, Congolese,
No.
whatever, therapy
We
works.
as a community actually need it the most.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
yeah, and sports whenever I have time, and spending time with friends and family, and yeah, nobody, that's the title of the books. Nobody, Casualty of America's War on Vulnerable, from Ferguson to Flint and Beyond. That's by Mark Lemon Hill. It's the last book that I read, and
Mm.
from there I've been just reading reports, and articles, um, and yeah, sometimes it's kind of hard because I can start a book and then not even finish it. And that's the last book that I actually read from beginning to end and finished it. And
Wow.
yeah, so it's just, you know, staying busy but staying healthy, whatever that
That's
means,
good.
for folks.
Yeah.
Always have time to recharge, because, like, a brother of mine from CAYP, Jennifer Sly, is actually a spokesperson for Jennifer. He always tell me, "Gaten, you have a lot of energy to burn, but don't forget, it's not a sprint, it's a marathon." And
Yeah.
I've learned that
I
you know.
used to hate that so much, but I get it.
So yeah, that's what I do for self care, and yeah, I'm trying to balance time with family, friends, and that's how I'm able to recharge and
No,
come back.
that's beautiful. No, thanks for sharing that, especially the therapy part. Because It's funny to me how you know how you move in different bubbles. And I have like this one bubble where everybody goes to therapy because we're young and we deserve it and we need to talk. And then there's like my community or Congolese bubble where it's still like, what? Never. I don't need that. Um, and especially also even like everything that you told me or shared with everybody. Thanks for sharing that. It's not easy to talk about things like that, like really fearing for the life of your family. We know what happens to revolutionaries or people who speak up in DRC. We know what happens to women in DRC. So um, I applaud you for sharing this with us, and also just your family for being like a whole activist family,
Yes,
trying to influence people here.
yes, and that remind me of one of your posts. It was a picture of you younger and says what radicalized you, and then you had something else. I
Yeah.
don't remember what you said, but that's essentially what happened to
Mm.
most of us, right? Like something really dramatic, and like dramatic event that happened
Yeah.
that made somebody becomes who they are, especially when we're talking about activism, right?
Mm.
Um, one of the founder of CAYP, Congolese Action Youth Platform, and also the coordinator for Genocost. Um, like I can share that. I can share her story because we've talked about it in public settings and events available online on Genocost. But she says it without fear. Mimi, I call her my mom Mimi. She says that the reason why she's into activism is because her sister was killed in 1998, and her sister who was pregnant. That what led her to, and and most family members, even her father was also is also like an activist, right? To be involved in general cause. So there is always something not nice that happened to someone, right? Whatever that oppression is or means to you, that kind of like appear in your life and made you question the status quo, like you mentioned. Question, you know, like why are they against? You mentioned Germany being against refugees. I can say the same thing for the United States, for example. Like, why are they against refugees when they are creating refugees in the first place by funding, you
The
know,
whole country started because
exactly by funding literally leaders of war leaders that fuel wars, right? Dictators that do not care about human rights,
Mm,
funding genocide.
mm,
All of that will happen in a domino effect. Like you create a war somewhere, these people they want to leave that place. Where do you think they're gonna go? They're gonna go to the first place that comes to mind where
mm.
they can have that access to freedom, that can have access to that
And
safety.
the
That
countries.
yeah, go ahead. I feel like you wanted to say something.
Oh, no, no, sorry. Sometimes I don't know. Just to add to that, they go to the countries with the best marketing because for people in Congo, mostly they want to go to Paris or places like that because Paris has this amazing marketing of being
Yes.
this super city. Yeah, go on.
And even the US, the marketing says American dream, right? The land of
Exactly.
whatever that sentence goes along. So yes, what do you think those refugees gonna come, right? So and you can see that, and this going to be live in a few days. But I prepared a post for Friends of the Congo about the temporary protected status, um, which is really this law that the United States created uh, to kind of compensate from the mess that they're creating around the world. It's like, okay, we're gonna somehow, because of our foreign policy, create or destabilize the country, create war, fund wars, turn a blind eyes on genocide happening. That will have a humanitarian effect, right? Like a crisis will be created. So, what can we do as the leader of the free world to offset that? So they create a temporary protected status, right? Which DR Congo or Friends of the Congo actually has been since last year with other communities um, um, in the DMV area across the country, we have been really pushing to have the U.S. government recognize Congo as provide with Congo's nationals living in the U.S. a temporary protected status, and for the students of the Congo to have a student relief, a special student relief. And
Mm,
but to us, it's kind of crazy because a few days ago, Secretary Mayorka, I think that's his name, he announced that Lebanon, who, by the way, I think it was like a month ago, Israel started to bomb Lebanon, and also they invaded Lebanon. And 2 days ago, the U.S. announced that they were going to provide a temporary protected status to the nationals of Lebanon living in the U.S. as they should, right?
mm-hmm,
And you also have a lot of countries that benefit that. I think, and don't quote me on that. Uh, Definitely Ukraine, and actually Ukraine was really weird and special case because and that's actually was a world record, U.S. record, if you want to put it that way. But within 2 months of the the Russian invasion, right,
mm,
they gave to Ukrainians living in the U.S. that status within 2 months. And keep in mind that countries like Lebanon, they have been oppressed by Israel for like many years, right?
mm-hmm,
So it's like it has that state of being constantly oppressed exists, but Ukraine, like, not really. Like, there have been fairly, in terms of like when we talking about military uh, component or aspect of it and the relationship with Russia and stuff, they have been relatively like peaceful. I'm gonna use the word peaceful.
mm,
Then Russia invaded, and then they were like, you know what, we're gonna give them temporary protected status. And I think Sudan as well. Maybe not Sudan, Cameroon. I'm not sure about Sudan. Cameroon for sure, and
mm-hmm,
and some countries. And when that post is live, people will be able to see the list. But it's kind of crazy that the Congo is still missing, right?
that's
Somehow
crazy.
there is not a will to seek justice because it's it's in the name temporary protected status, because that status is temporary, because while the nationals of those countries in the US are protected, they are free, uh, their status is literally free from deportation, free from any sort of like harassment. They can work, they can have a work permit so they can work, have income, because of the situation that the US induced or created in the country of origin, or not necessarily US per se, but the government, right? And then the US somehow was not at the forefront of like prevent it from happening. Then they're gonna work on a peace plan. They're gonna work on a justice plan. In the meantime, they're gonna give a temporary protected status to the nationals.
Mm,
So having a temporary protected status means indirectly that the U.S. is actively working to bring peace in that country, right?
yeah.
But what message is sent to Congolese when it comes to the Congo is that we're not going to give nationals of the Congo, of the DR Congo, that TPS status because we are not interested to work on a peace plan, right? We're not interested to work tirelessly so that there is justice in the Congo, that folks or countries that are constantly invading the Congo, Rwanda, Uganda, leaders that are intentionally funding our militias, Yoweri Museveni of Uganda, Paul Kagame, multinationals that are literally benefiting from that exploitation, right? From those war, that none of them are being held accountable, right? That the U.S. is not up implementing their own law to make sure that there is justice in the Congo. So not giving TPS status for Congolese or to Congolese, to me, it literally speaks to that, right? So it, it it's annoying, it's frustrating to see things happening, and the fact that even the Congo right now, they also don't have control of their own affairs. Like if they cast their votes, at least since I have been alive, 31 years old now, I have never seen uh, Congolese people cast the votes, vote for someone, and that person still lead. And we all, you read credible, sources, and even the U.S. government, they talk about it. All the election that happened from Joseph Kabila in 2006, 2011, recent election, which is getting 2019, and even this last one in 2023, there are credible reports that can literally prove that those elections were neither free nor peaceful. But yet we are here talking about a democratic country. We're here talking about a Congo. We hear having the U.S. talk about the Congo as this example and the leaders as somebody who is being doing a good job. But then, how do you explain that you have a lot of refugees? Most of them, over 50% of refugees in the U.S. come from the Congo. You cannot tell me that the Congolese
No
government is
way.
when most of them are
I didn't
refugees.
know.
Yeah, yeah. It pains me. It frustrates me, and that's why sometimes it's good to like take a pause. So yeah,
Thanks so much for sharing. I mean, you say so much, and I always want to like add a comment. I mean, that's why you read, and that's why I'm so thankful that you took your time to go live with me. Um, because yeah, the post that you craft, and also just the content of Friends of the Congo, there's really substance in there. Um, Actually, I'd like to say it in German because there's a few Germans here. Um, you will understand later. Also,
yeah.
ähm,
Go ahead.
genau, wir sind heute live mit Friends of the Congo und das ist für mich auf jeden Fall ein allererstes Mal in dem Format. Es klappt sicher soweit ganz gut, wir sind sehr zufrieden, aber wenn ihr Informationen braucht und einfach nachvollziehen wollt, was im Kongo passiert, aber auch in anderen Ländern und wie man sich connectet, deswegen heißt der Live auch Solidarity, dann folgt Friends of the Congo, folgt Gaeta und einfach den ganzen Gruppen oder über uns findet ihr dann auch immer deren Posts, weil wir unbedingt deren Stimmen verbreiten wollen, weil die halt einfach mehr Wissen haben als wir. So I was just saying, you guys just have the knowledge, you have the content, and also what you mentioned, like your projects. They're just so amazing. But I remember when we had our first actions here, I actually ordered those postcards from your website or downloaded them concerning the court case that some families and lawyers brought. I don't know the exact details. Don't hang me on that. But basically, you started, or a few people started, a lawsuit against American corporations for the exploitations of the Congo. And this, like everything you kind of do, is like, for me, groundbreaking, and kind of this, yeah, example to follow. Because I cannot imagine lawyers over here just even considering doing that, and the research that you do on the migrants, the diaspora over there, and what you can do for them over there if it's not doing things for people in DRC directly. That's amazing. So maybe elaborate more because then I can also share what we are planning on doing, or what I'm planning to do. Like aside from what you are doing now, considering the refugee status or the protection status, um, what can we do more? Like, what is something where people can support your cause, but also what is something that people can really do? Not just like and share, which happens too little sometimes, but like actually do or
Yeah.
join. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. And just to kind of like clarify and also give praise where it's due, like I'm in this organization for like a year, right? So this organization has 20 years, and thanks to first the founders, our friends of the Congo, the board members, and also the executive director, Maurice Carney, and all the people, all the volunteers who worked in the past, and those who are currently working for Friends of the Congo. It is a collective effort, right? Of really trying to build this movement and continue to amplify the voice of the Congolese folks. So really shout out to them, because I'm still in this journey of learning, and add and do my partition, and add things that I can in terms of like what people can do to support us. I will honestly redirect them to freecongo.org. Uh, we have literally uh, uh, put down how they can be involved, either as volunteers, donate their time, because that's really, really valuable. And we 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 always appreciate when folks volunteer, because I love to volunteer my time. So um, donate your time if you can. Be involved, and also please be patient with us too, because we are, like I said, we are volunteers, and we do our best to reach out to folks. Uh, but we encourage people to just join the movement and continue to be and just join us into this journey of volunteering and helping out amplify the voice of the Congolese folks. Donates, we, like I mentioned at the beginning of the live, uh, Friends of the Congo organize or host every year, starting December 1st, our end of the year fundraiser, which 100% of the donation will go to support partners, and fun, we saw the result of that funds of that last year fundraiser this year with the Basanja Coalition. They did a tour, fantastic tour across the U.S. and visiting, um, giving teachings and lessons in universities and other places. We continue to do that. So this year, probably gonna leave it to the market person. Shout out to Quadjo to expand more on that. But the end of the year fundraising is coming up, and yeah. So what I can say is visit freecongo.org and try to be be involved the way you can. And Tabitha, I think I lost you. Um,
No, no.
oh,
I was
uh,
trying to do the thing that you do, like let you shine.
oh, nah. But yeah, that's essentially what's going on. And keep an eye out on our different social media platform. We on X, Congo Friends. We on Instagram,
Yeah,
Congo
let me actually put your website in the chat. It's just freecongo.org, right?
freecongo.org.
Yeah.
That's where um, you're gonna find action that you can take. And a part of that, I think, is I really have to mention that yesterday was Thanksgiving for those who celebrate Wonjaju, um, and today is Black Friday. So there is also this collective action that the Friends of the Congo is also part of, and we also like organization across. Uh, it's an international action to essentially uh, protest, at your Apple store nearby, and the protest, or the protest really calls to, especially on the Friends of the Congo standpoints, really to raise awareness about what's going on and how Apple is complicit or is being silenced when we look at what's going on in
Mm.
Gaza, and how they're not taking the leadership their leadership, right? They're not being accountable and speaking up about what's going on in Gaza, and they're not also acknowledging um, the supply chain that any tech companies, including Apple, are involved with. The sourcing of the materials that they're using to create. to make the cell phones, cobalt, and which comes from humanitarian, I mean, actually, human abuse, human rights abuse from children being forced in a mine to uh, places, and if you have to go all the way to North Kivu, with the armed groups, right? So it's also acknowledging that the supply chain um, is not ethical. I think that's how I'm gonna
Yeah,
um,
100%.
not ethical, and just being able to acknowledge it and work. And that's part of the lawsuit that you mentioned. And Friends of the Congo work with an organization. I completely forgot the name, with attorney. I think it's Terry. I forgot his name, but it
Mm.
was intention to hold them accountable on behalf of 14 families, right, of those miners and children who
Mm.
were in the mines, and we lost, unfortunately. But that's also to show that there isn't. Yeah, you wanted to jump in and say something?
No, no, no. My reactions.
That's just to show that even the legal tools that are supposed to protect the people most likely fail to uphold justice, right? To save or keep all the marginalized, you know, out of harm ways. So we lost, unfortunately, but that doesn't mean that we give up on continuing to amplify, continue to talk um, uh, about what's going on in Congo, about this myth of the energy transition. And shout out to RAID's organization that has been putting out their content and videos. RAID, RAID. I really invite you guys to go and follow them. About
Mm.
they talk about the, like, the
If you
environmental
can put the link in the chat, then maybe people can have it later. Yeah.
um I don't even know if I put in this chat,
Ah,
but
okay.
but I guess I will try.
Never
It's
mind.
work.
We can like send it later. It's fine.
Yeah, but yeah, we'll be posting more of the videos we have collaborated in the past, and we're gonna continue to do that. But Raid, RAID, look them up.
Mm.
Interesting latest report that they publish around, like, the environment and human cost of the DRC cobalt boom. So when they say that, when Apple says, because the CEO of Apple uh, said that their supply chain is clean, it's impossible for that to be
No,
clean. And most important
definitely.
is that. So it's just, I continue to work in collaboration with an organization like that, right? And I'm inviting folks beyond Friends of the Congo to continue to educate themselves, to continue to learn more. Then they will be able to see that the things, the DR Congo, Congolese people are victim of a system of oppression that is also targeting other communities and other countries and other nationalities. So
For sure.
once we are able to open our eyes, we will see that our collective, that our struggle is really intertwined. So our collective liberation becomes a must. So, so yeah, that's kind of what I have to say. I don't know if you want to add anything.
Yeah. Always, you say so many amazing things. I'll try, but I'm looking at the time. Like we're like over 60 minutes. I don't know how much longer we. Okay.
Yes. Maybe if we can wrap up, and that would be amazing. But
Okay.
yeah, yeah, go ahead.
Yeah. Let's try. I hope I don't take too many minutes. Yeah, concerning like the responsibility of the companies, I'm totally with you. That's why we were inspired by your action, because in Germany the government, of course, tried to trick us into believing that they will craft a law that will allow um, um, people or companies to track down who's responsible. And it's a very amazing German word. If you want to learn it, I have to read it. It's
Go
called
ahead.
Lieferketten-Sorgfaltspflichtgesetz.
What she says.
Like, it's literally like 5 words in one. the supply chain responsibility law, kind of, all in one word. And everybody was so excited because it sounded like they would finally that like follow up on the promises or the protests of Gen Z about like climate justice, and that we don't want our governments to fund um, human suffering for our luxury. It's just to find out that this law is, again, I don't know what you call it, a bull without horns or something. It's just a fancy word for we're not gonna do ish. The big companies keep exploiting, and it's really, really heartbreaking. So much to say. One thing, yeah, I want people to keep following your page. What you said about the groups you work with, this is exactly what we want to do. That's why I was harassing you guys with my messages like we need to collab. Um, and you were pretty cool. Our
Like I
little
said, I
collective.
have to say I apologize. Like I said earlier, it's volunteering work, right? And it's trying to fit in.
Yeah.
Like, hey, like when is the perfect time to do that? Because I really
Mm,
want to have with you, but I really want to have. I want you to have my attention. I want you to have mine. So how can we have a meaningful conversation, right? So that we can learn from each other and also educate folks that are also watching, right? It's just a
mhm.
matter of like finding the best time to do that. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's what I was saying earlier. Like folks, be involved and but be patient with us because we are literally volunteers. So yeah,
100%. And I understand, like, I'm a bit running rampant or on, I don't know, sugar
you're doing
and
great.
trying to like drag everybody. But it's, as you said, like, you have to know when to rest. I've had to learn the hard way still. Now I'm trying to get um, healthy again. And it's this collective liberation keyword that you gave me that is important. Even in Germany, we have amazing groups during Free Palestine protests, and they always ask us, they always include us. Same for the Sudan groups, people who fight for women rights. We're just so happy, and that's kind of what we have the platform for, or our social media presence, because there's only two people. No, actually there's more people behind, let me not lie. There's like six people working on there, but still everybody has like a full-time job and a life and blah blah blah, and sometimes you don't want to deal with trauma every day. And so it's just amazing to have people support, people who volunteer, people who help with, yeah, finances. And that's where I should move on to the next topic and not take too much time, because there's a lot happening. First, we're going to have a Klimasalon in Cologne in Germany on the 14th of December. And that's where we're going to talk about the crisis in DRC connected to, I think people call it green slavery, like how the green energy and the whole novelties over here in the West is fueled by continuously exploiting and enslaving people in DRC. So look forward to that. Everybody who can come, physically come, and we'll try to do the digital thing as well. Something that's very dear to my heart. I only have it like this, but everybody can just go to the social media page. Can you see it?
I can see that. Yes.
Great. So everybody can just go to the social media page of Free Congo Collective. But you also have Friedensnetzwerk Congo in Germany, and a few very important names down here of amazing groups working internationally, but also based in Germany, like Focus Congo. Shout out to Papiorio if you're still here. He's amazing. We have Goma Active, a group working in Goma itself or in East Congo, who are joining us on this campaign. What is this campaign about? Pamoja is Swahili word for together. And it's a project that already started with DKG, DKJ in German, a group of diaspora Congolese young people who decided to come together and bring the community together in the diaspora and really have an impact in terms of what can we do, how can we inspire people, what can we do here, what can we do over there. And this is a campaign where we are collecting money continuously, collecting funds, but also donations connected to menstrual health. Sorry, my voice is leaving. um, this is something that I crafted with a few people from the group here in Germany, DKJ, because I myself will be traveling to East Congo. I took all the precautions. I talked to many people who are going to support and help. And we want to take the funds that we collected during our event in November. It was really much. Thank you to everybody who helped us out there. And also tomorrow, I'm having a pop up where we will also collect again funds for this travel. And when I'm in Goma, we want to work with women on producing those reusable pads, but also see if we can do something else like how do I say, diapers for children, just to see what we can do as a little project for women who can work on like self-sustaining, not just me going there with a pack of polluting pads, but actually starting something that is self-sustained when they start producing it and giving it to other women. So yeah, this is a project that is very dear to my heart and a lot of people down here. I will be connected to Goma Active in Goma and also Focus Congo. Wow, I don't know how to move. Yeah, Focus Congo is going to be there. So many other people, Uhuru Knowledge Center, all the money we collected at the beginning of the year went to Uhuru Knowledge Center. They do amazing work. They go to the displaced camps almost every day. Those are students, volunteers. They cook for the people. They do those amazing programs where children can just dance and try to forget about the surroundings. So there is a lot to do. And again, not everybody has to do it, not everybody can do it, but what you can do is share this information, follow us, like, comment. Yes, I share a lot about traveling, and sometimes I'm very, very, very in your face colonizers. But we're trying, all of us, to build a platform for the collective liberation. Everybody's on their journey to, how do we say, work through their trauma, or this is how I would put it. I remember you mentioned this post of me where I put a picture of me when I was a child. And the next slide said that I lost my home 1999, like literally the house my parents owned in DRC. Um, Everything just from one day to another was gone. Actually, it was a longer period of time. I was there when the first two conflicts in DRC happened, when Mobutu was taken off office and everything. And and I was just put in a plane and shipped over to Germany. Like, and that's a whole trauma nobody likes to talk about. We're trying to build our lives in the diaspora and everything. And I guess this is my why. I lost my home, and I see my people still suffering. And I'm lucky to be here. And maybe it's survivor's guilt, but I just want to do something, and that's why I'm talking to you. That's why I'm talking to you guys in the chat, and everybody is here. That's why I just, even if when my voice is gone, I keep talking and keep trying to just convince at least one more person to care for Congo, for Sudan, for Palestine, for conflicts, and to maybe share the wealth that we have and help others. That's it for me.
You, thank you so much. You said a lot, and I think yeah, we're gonna have to like end a little bit. I really loved our conversation at this live. It helped me personally to learn more about Freecon Collective and this amazing work that folks in Germany, Europe have been able to do. So shout out to you guys. Um, so what I will say, the only thing that I will say is to continue, right? Continue to push, continue to to work to uplift the voice of our people, of the Congolese people. Uh, you heard Tabita, a lot of events happening, follow Frequent Collective, and also trying to see how you can get involved if you in Germany. And Friend of the Congo, we also have a lot of events happening. We have, like I said, the end of the year campaign, and we continue our education programs that we do, educational program that we do. So yeah, continue to follow us and look the things that we're doing. I think I'm gonna read a little bit of some of the comments that I saw real quick, and then we can.
That's me multitasking.
I, you can help me too. Johnson Ashley Aze, she said, "Look, Congolese, actually, send me request for your private actor reading. My beloveds, you are blessed." I think I don't know if that was for us. Let me go into more
Yeah.
questions, comments. If you have, go ahead. If you have something,
Yeah, yeah, I saw like TNTURN up. TN turn up, probably. He said, like, could you send me where to donate? Um, I would just, as Gaetan said, advise you to go to the page of Friends of the Congo. Usually, you guys have a fundraiser, right? So people can just directly donate to the, what is it called? What is this website?
freecongo.org.
Yeah,
And if you want to give your donation, it's fine. We will take that. And another comments, it's Trina. I think. Do you accept new tags on clothing and ladies or girls? I think that's a question for you, Tabitha.
yeah. So I'm a bit, I think my English is lost. Tags on means new
Uh,
tags, like people just sending us clothes.
yes, that's a
Ah,
question.
okay. Yeah, this is something where I would have to draw a line. Like, it's very expensive or difficult to expedite things from Germany to DRC directly. Um, what helps more is really just funds. Like, if you can like do a sales of your clothes online and donate that money to like Focus Congo, that would be amazing. I don't know if it's Trina is in Germany. Focus Congo does sometimes ship containers over to DRC, but it's like every other month. If you're interested, just DM us. If you live in Germany and you want to send something, they have a list of things that they need. It's not always closed. Mostly it's like we needed those sewing machines, for example, to do the sewing project, stuff like that. So DM us and we can then forward you to where to go. Like, this is what we love to do on our website. If we don't have the answer, we will connect you to people who have the answer or have projects where you can support.
Yes, another comment from New Blank. I'm from Costa Rica, Central America. I respect you and love y'all. I'm so happy to be lento hear you. To be a lento hear you. I will rise the voice for Congo hearts. I appreciate you and Wu Blank. So yeah, I think that's it on my end. I don't know if you have more comments, but I think that's
No, I think
a
I'm
lot.
just gonna shout out my soldiers here. We have Yasmin, like a lot of people who like started this whole thing with me, Milan and Glenda, amazing people, all women, super busy, and they're here. It's almost 11 p.m. in Germany, and I'm tired, and everybody's tired. But thank you all. Thank you for your time. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Thank you so much for this time, and thank you all for watching us. It was Free Congo Movements. We were impacting what it means to be a friend of the Congo. We had Tabitha Dorcas from the Free Congo Collective in Germany. I appreciate all. If you have any questions concerning, like, feel free to hit us up, DM us, and yeah, we're gonna continue this movement. And good night to those in Europe, and good afternoon for the
Yeah,
rest. All
let's
right,
do this
ciao.
again. Bye.